Welcome to my office. I forgot to record a video to introduce my tortilla soup cooking at the time, so I'm going to do it now. Stick with me for the next few minutes. I will teach you how to make the most delicious tortilla soup you've ever had, infused with the beauty of chili peppers, right here on Chili Chunn. Alright, so we're going to get going with tortilla soup. We got our burner nice and hot. In fact, it's a little too hot. I'm going to put it back down on a 4 now that it's cooking. And we're just going to take a couple things. So measurement's not that important. Ratio is important. You want about the same amount of diced poblano and the same amount of diced onion as you have chicken. And if you get those ratios right, it doesn't really matter how much there is, as long as you have liquid to cover it. And then garlic. It's a personal preference thing. Some people don't like garlic. I love garlic, so I use way too much. Probably normal is a couple cloves per pot, diced up. And I have about 6 because I really, really like garlic. And this is going to form the base. Like, this is kind of my version of the Trinity. Poblano, onion, and really, really good garlic. And so, on the skillet nice and hot, we're going to take some olive oil, whatever you have around. Extra virgin is better, but careful not to burn it. We're going to put about a tablespoon in the bottom of the skillet, and wait until that gets a little bit of a glisten on it. It has a silicone spatula, as usual. And then just add your vegetables. You hear that nice crackle when they hit the pan. I love that sound. Alright. In. And then last, the garlic. In. And yeah, this is probably going to look familiar. This is very similar to the way we started pinto beans. And you're right. This is how you start a lot of stuff, honestly. Like if you have a dish that you're making that is served warm and has any amount of liquid to it, and you start it this way, the worst case scenario ain't that bad. You'll be fine. But for the purposes of tortilla soup, it really, really works because it has that natural Tex-Mex flavor that the poblanos do, I think. And we're going to add a little bit more in the way of particular flavors later on. But right now, just laying the foundation down of what you want to do. And what we want to do is have just a really, really nice, fresh soup base. It's a little bit spicy, but more importantly, has the essence of pepper taste in it. And I think that's how we're going to achieve that. And then also at this point, I know it's a little early for salt because we want them to kind of cook naturally. I mean, you can if you want, but I like to put a little pepper at this point. It'll have time to heat up and release its aroma throughout the vegetables. Because I like to try to, I mean, it's soup. It's all going to go in the broth anyway. But I like to try to concentrate flavor in the vegetable bits so that when you do get one, because they're going to be very small when we're done, but when you do get one, it bursts with flavor. And I think that's one of the things that keeps people coming back to like a particular dish. You get those little bites of things that you want to try again. And so this is how you make that. You just kind of take your time and make sure to infuse each layer of the dish with its own kind of personality. And then when you eat it, you taste all those different things. And it becomes more rich and people just, and then they're like, hey dude, how do you make your soup? There we go. And so yeah, we're just going to cook it down. We're not, you can brown them a little bit and the soup will be better for it. So you can, it's up to you. But yeah, at this point you just want to saute oh, there we go. So at this point, now that you got it up to temperature, again we're sitting at a medium, so about 4.5, 5. We're just going to leave this sit for a little bit until, actually I'm going to turn it down maybe a little bit more. My light still does it when I turn the burner on and off, sorry. To about a 4. Let it cook. Stir it a little bit, don't leave. There's a time where we're going to walk away for a long time, but it's not now. But just kind of chill for a minute, and I'd say in about, 8 to 10 minutes. This is going to be cooked way, way down. It's going to be very, very tender, and it's going to be a huge amount of aroma coming out, and that's when we're going to be ready to build the rest of the soup. Alright, so they've cooked down a little bit. They're looking kind of translucent. but they still have texture. And now we want to add the next layer of flavor. And so you're going to need about 2 to 3 tablespoons of your seasonal of choice. This is a little mixture of my own. But the real important stuff is the salt, chili powder, and cumin for the purpose of this. You want to have those 3 things. But, you know, you probably have like a Tony Chachere's or a chupacabra or whatever kind of general purpose seasoning you like. You can use that. It'll be fine. You just want to add it right on top of the vegetable. Yeah, just like that. And just kind of evenly distribute it. And if it looks like too much, you know, have faith, because we're going to add a lot of liquid, and we're going to add some chicken too that hasn't been seasoned a ton. And so I think it'll balance out. And plus you want tortilla soup to have a pretty punchy flavor to taste right. And so I'm just tossing the vegetables around in the mix. So everything has a nice coating of seasoning on it. And once that's done, and the vegetables are seasoned, we're going to turn it up just for a couple minutes, not long, to about a 6. I want to get just the tiniest little bit of color on the vegetables. You don't want to burn them. I also want to leave the tiniest little bit of crust on the bottom of the pan that we can deglaze when we add the broth. Those 2 things are going to give us even more flavor. And it, you know, it seems like a simple recipe, it is, but it's the little things that make it taste good, the little doting and loving on it that you do. And so take the time, it's worth it, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, turn up a little bit more to a 7, and there's kind of a thick liquid at the bottom of the skillet forming, and that's what you want. It's just like a vegetable drippings and seasoning turning into like a morass, and it's fantastic. And you want to cook that down and get a little bit of color on that to get max flavor. And so once you got that, and I think we're just about there, the bubbles are getting pretty big, it's starting to mostly evaporate, and you'll get right to where you're going to burn it, but don't do it. And the trick to this is you can take it right to the edge of reason, but it's okay. Like, you don't have to worry about, a lot of times you have to worry about slowing the skillet back down before you burn it. You don't, because we have broth. I made this myself. I might do a video on that separately if you want, but basically you need 6 cups of broth, and we might not use it all now. We may not use it all, period, but we're probably going to use most of it, but you may have to re-add a couple times. Yeah, that's what we want. So most of the liquid in the vegetables is turned into like a thick substance on the bottom of the skillet, and that's exactly where we need it to be. And it's just probably about to start cooking a little bit too much, and so we're going to go ahead and add the liquid. And the liquid will cool it right down and even out the temperature, and it'll just stop the cooking of those vegetables right in time where you want it. And I added the whole thing. If we need to top up more, we'll do it with water, because you don't want to over salt it. You don't want to put too much chicken broth flavor in there, because we want the other stuff to come through. And now that you've added that, it's a good chance to season a little bit with some more pepper. And lastly, nothing fancy, just a little bit of I don't know if it's like this everywhere, but grocery stores in my area, they just have beautiful rotisserie cooked chicken all the time. It's great. And so we buy a lot of them. And when you have one the day of, the best thing to do is just eat it. You know, like the Hound from Game of Thrones. But the next day, I like to debone it and actually use the carcass from this chicken to make the broth. Again, maybe if you want, let me know. We can do a video on that. But I've just got the chicken shredded into little bite-sized pieces, and I'm just going to add the chicken to the mix. There we go. Chicken in. And the last thing I'm going to add is there we go. Sorry. Some bay, leaves of bay. You can get them. I like them fresh better. I couldn't find them this time, so I'm using the dried ones I have. But that'll add just a little bit of herbaceousness to it, and a little bit of depth. And then just kind of mix it around. If there's anything stuck to the bottom, you want to try to get it off at this point so it doesn't burn while we're cooking. It probably won't, but if anything, you'll release it into the broth. And now we have a pretty little flavorful chicken soup. And the chicken's already cooked, so really this is just cooking long enough to come together. And so first I want to get it to a pretty good solid boil, and then I want to back it down, put a lid on it, and let it sit for a while. And so the first thing we're going to do is, and keep in mind I'm still at about a 7. I'm going to turn it up even more to about an 8, and I'm going to let this sit. It's going to take a couple minutes. Stir it a couple of times, and then we'll check back in just a little bit, and it'll be at the nice boil that we want, and then we can turn it on cruise control and find something to do. So hang tight. All right, check it out. We got nice little lightly rolling boil. You don't want anything crazy. You don't want it to go nuts. But we got a nice light rolling boil, little tiny little bubbles, very gentle boil. And so when we get there, I'm put on we're gonna put a lid on it. And so we want to turn it like right down to like a 2, like low. We want to cook this slow. Because think about it, rotisserie chicken's already cooked, so we're really just trying to get the flavors together, make sure everything gets to know each other before we have to eat it. And at this point, yeah, we're just gonna give it a little stir, make sure nothing's getting too complacent. Pop a lid on the pot. And here at about the 26-minute mark, we're going to put this on cruise control, which is about a 2. Just check it. If you hear the lid start rattling, you better go look. You're going to be sorry if you don't. And then we're going to have delicious soup in about 1 hour. So I'd say right at about the hour-and-a-half mark, we should be good. That seems like a lot, but you'll be rewarded because all those flavors in the bay will all come together, and it'll be super, super good. So hang tight. We'll check back in. So we're about halfway through our cook. I passed the time by eating 4 ahi on the colored pods in one sitting. And don't worry, I made a video of that too. So if you're a subscriber, you'll see that, or maybe you already have. I'm not sure. Forgive me. That was actually a lot more than I bargained for. I'm really on fire right now. But so we're halfway through. We just want to eyeball it. Take a look at our stuff. Make sure it's doing good. 2 points of order. If you got a metal handle like this, use something before you grab it. You're going to burn the hell out of yourself. And 2, if you got a flat lid like this, tilt one edge of it over the pan when you take it off because it's going to drip everywhere. Like this. There go the drips. So yeah, lid off. We've got really pretty looking soup going. Nice. Yeah, I think we're just going to let it ride. And so I'd say about 30 more minutes we'll be ready to eat. Alright, it's that glorious time. It's tortilla soup time. Yeah, at about not quite an hour 40 total cook time. And we really didn't have to do very much of anything. It took longer to debone the chicken than it did to make anything else. Are you ever ready to unveil beautiful pot of soup? So here, didn't think ahead of time what to do with that lid. First thing we want to do is just taste it. Just give the broth a taste. Make sure the salt is adequate. You know, always check, because now's the time to fix it. Rich chicken smell. I'm going to give it a little tiny sprinkle of Himalayan pink salt. I say pink salt, I understand that's something that's used in curing, so when I say pink salt, I mean this. Rock salt from the Himalayas. It's delicious. Adding that little bit, mix it around again, then we should be ready to serve. And then at this point we're ready to face what is a grim reality of tortilla soup. It's way more complicated to correctly dress a bowl of tortilla soup than it is to actually make a pot. So I've got a few things. I've got a ladle. As much as I love silicone spatulas, you can't get soup with them. But we've got a few things. We got, traditionally, you got to have, actually I think all this is pretty traditional, so I'm going to say, you know, be flexible on, you know, exactly what peppers, exactly what cheese, exactly what form of aromatic, but for the most part, you got to have all this stuff to really make it worth your while. You want some kind of tortilla chips that are crumbled up. I got some organic blue corn tortilla chips that are good. And they add salt too. I've got, some people use red onion. I think raw onion in soup's a little strong, so I like to go with shallot. It's a little milder, but you still get the same, you know, kind of aroma. It's a little sweeter. It's a little less abrasive. I think it blends well in its raw form. Gotta have cheese. Just do. Gotta have cheese. And then you need some kind of pepper. I've got slices of jalapeno, and then for a little color and a little more heat, I've got some slices of Hawaiian Kona pepper. And back here, I've got some chopped cilantro. And so you got to need all this stuff to make your tortilla soup's good by itself. Don't get me wrong, it's going to be delicious, but this is going to really, really drive it home with the correct experience. So yeah, first we got to get some soup. And so I'm just diving in. And in the interest of a clean bedroom, I'm be very careful, and I'm probably not going to dish up a whole bowl. Yeah, that's probably good. There we go. All right. Beautiful. I'm going to turn my burner off so I can have my light work correctly. And here we go. Okay, cool. So you've got your bowl of tortilla soup all dished up. Maybe not quite the right size bowl, forgive me. But basically what you want to do is build layers of flavor. And so the stuff that needs to cook a little bit is the stuff that's going to go on the bottom. And that first is the shallots. And I'm not going to use all of what I brought. I'm just kind of piling it on. So you put a little bit of shallots down there to let them cook. And then you take a couple of your peppers and put them down and make them cook. There. So now they're going to infuse your broth with their flavor. But then from there, you actually go with a pile of tortilla chips, boom, right in the middle like that. Now I'm going to use all tortilla chips because I want to eat them all. Cheese right on top of that, so some of it stays fresh, some of it melts. Oh yeah. And then from there, now we're going to add the rest of our peppers in a decorative fashion. Boom. Put my red peppers up here for color. My shallots all around that. The peppers are starting to give off some aroma. That's pretty awesome. Shallots around. I guess I am using all my toppings. I like a lot of toppings. And then fresh chopped cilantro right on top of that. And now I'm going to let it sit for just a second because it is 800,000 degrees. And then so if you hang tight for just a moment, we're going to taste this and find out what we got ourselves into. I've waited as long as I could. I can't wait any longer. And so now, the only thing right before you eat, you don't want to do is ahead of time because it will melt. But you want to get a little bit of sour cream. I like the squeezy bottle because you can really dole it out in a pretty fashion. And just put a nice dollop of sour cream there in the bowl. And now you're ready to dive in on some really, really delicious tortilla soup. And so, man, let's find out what we've done. Oh, and by the way, PSA, take the bay leaves out of your food before you serve it to your guests, lest they choke to death. Look, I almost killed myself on camera. Shame on me. But yeah, we're going to get a nice big piece of chicken. We get some cheese. Dig up some of my tortilla chips. Where do they go? There we go. Because again, the soup is good, but the toppings are where a lot of the action is at. I want my red peppers. I want some chips. There. A little bit of sour cream. There. Now I have the full tortilla soup experience. That's the joy of tortilla soup. So many things coming together. It's a melting pot, literally, of taco topping type ingredients, but into just a beautiful, warm, invigorating. And one of the things that really makes this go is the cilantro. It adds that fresh, herby aroma that cuts through, it lightens everything up. Those Hawaiian Kona peppers are slightly sweet. They add a pretty good spice that the jalapenos don't really bring on their own. This is delicious. I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me eat all this, but I am going to chow down on this bowl right now because this is awesome. And you see how the sour cream, as you eat it, gets creamier and creamier, and it almost kind of descends into chowder territory between the sour cream and the cheese. So believe me when I tell you, this is a good chicken soup base recipe. It's really good, but the thing that makes tortilla soup go, the thing that gives it its heart and soul, is the toppings and the way you put them on. So believe me when I tell you, the hard part is at the end. If you nail that, you're going to have a great bowl of soup. You're going to be comfy as hell, no matter what you're wearing or where you are. But yeah, thanks for watching Chili Chunn. If you'd like to learn how to cook stuff like this that involves, shoehorning chili peppers into the lives of you and your family, click subscribe. That's my thing. So yeah, looking forward to hanging out with you all pepper season long. Click like, click the bell. You'll get notified every time there's a new video. I'm shooting for 7 days a week. I don't always hit it. I'm a stepfather of 4. I work 40, 50 hours a week. I do the best I can. But I really am shooting for 7 days a week. So click the bell and almost every damn day, you're going to have to hear from me. Thanks for watching, Chili Chunn.